I am going to evaluate my promotional poster for my supernatural horror film on behalf of the first question. In what ways did your media products use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Here is the final product for my ancillary poster. Our film is a horror film specifically based around the subgenre supernatural horror. The target audience for our film is young adults, generally 15 to 25-year-olds. Therefore, I need to keep my poster relatively modern to fit their tastes, while still remain within the codes and conventions of our genre. Here is the focal image of my poster. Focal images are almost always conventionally seen on posters, as they are the one thing on the poster that generally captures the eye of the audience first. They are typically featured centrally on the poster, as it is the main focus. I decided to have the focal image of the man looking through the door central, as it's the first thing that I wanted my audience to see and focus on. However, I decided I wanted the area around the focal point of the image to be black, as I didn't want the image to divert attention away from the information featured on the poster too much. Also, black is conventional colour of the genre that connotes death and darkness, two themes current throughout many supernatural horrors. In the focal image, it is not clear who the main character is featured within it. This is convention of other supernatural horror posters, as they tend to focus on the mysterious and eerie aspects of the image, instead of focusing on establishing the main antagonist and protagonist in the film's narrative. This therefore intrigues the audience to watch the film. Other horror films such as Sinister and Poltergeist were the inspirations for this. However, it is hinted that the character featured could be the protagonist of the film, as it is clear they are inside the house, almost trying to get out, but something is stopping them. This also links to the title of our film, Occupied, as someone is clearly occupying the house in the focal image. I decided to link the image and title of the film together, as I was inspired by the film The Eye, that features an eye as its main focal image, clearly linking the two. I decided not to feature the actors or main characters in the focal image clearly, as for Hollywood conglomerate films, this could be done. However, as many supernatural horror films are made by low-budget, independent production companies with not very well-known actors, this would be pointless, as the actors generally wouldn't have any fans who would be persuaded to watch the film because of them. Not featuring the characters' faces also adds a sense of mystery to the film and intrigues the audience as to what the film's narrative could be. Conventionally, focal images represent the genre of the film, something that I feel my focal image has effectively done. This is because the colour within the image is quite dull and dark, representing the eerie and ominous mood and atmosphere that is conventionally present throughout all supernatural horrors. The effect that I used on the focal image has given it an almost double vision effect, giving the character in the image a ghostly effect around him, hinting at the narrative where the male protagonist becomes possessed at the end and eventually turns into the antagonist. Ghostly effects are also conventional of the genre, as ghosts are an iconic antagonist featured in their narratives. I mainly gained inspiration for the silhouette through the door and the focal image from the supernatural horror film Poltergeist. In both the original Poltergeist film and the 2015 remake, the main protagonist is not shown fully, with an almost silhouette-like shape of the character shown in front of the television on the original poster. They also both use the motif of hands reaching out to something. In the 2015 remake poster, the girl has her hand on these doors that clearly show some sort of ghostly figure behind them, with its hand also clearly showing through it. The use of a hand reaching out to the unknown is a creepy aspect and shows that maybe the protagonist and antagonist have some sort of link in the film's narrative. This is something I have clearly tried to replicate in my poster. The use of the hand reaching out intrigues the audience as they are unaware of what they are reaching out towards. Plus, as it's generally clear that the character featured is a male and that there is one male protagonist in the film, it hints that this protagonist is going to have some sort of link and connection with the ghostly antagonist, eventually him ending up possessed, as shown in our teaser trailer. The colour palette that I used linked with the focal image of the poster, with the theme of white, black and dull beige being the only colours used, giving the poster an overall uniform and professional look. I gained inspiration for this from the poster of The Conjuring, as one of the main colours featured in the poster is a dull, creamy beige colour, with black being the focal image background and white information to stand out against it. As you can see, I have used the colours in a similar way on my poster. It is important for a poster to stand out and be eye-catching, so that the audience are lured into looking at it, and then eventually persuaded to watch it when the film is eventually released. I decided to use the contrast of the light beige and white colours against the black background to do this. The dull and dark colours are generally colours that are also associated with the supernatural horror genre, as they resemble the dark themes featured throughout their narratives. At the very bottom of the poster, I have used social media references, telling the audience where to go to find our film on Facebook and Twitter. More so than ever before, social media references are added onto films posters due to the craze of the internet in modern times. Production companies rely heavily on social media sites to distribute and market their films, uploading their trailers onto YouTube, creating viral marketing through word of mouth on Twitter and Facebook, and having their own website as a way of pull marketing, making the audience go to a certain place to gain information about the film themselves. I have included these onto my poster to allow the audience to gain further information about the film if they wish to, especially as our target audience are young adults. Young adults are stereotypically a demographic that are always on the internet, especially social networking sites, and know a lot about modern technologies. Incorporating the social media sites' logos also makes them more recognisable and memorable for the audience. Here, I have stated the names of the actors featured in the film. For Hollywood conglomerates, the star system is always an effective technique used for the film's posters. This is because large production companies are able to afford A-list celebrities who have large fan bases to feature in their film. It attracts the audience, especially fans of the actors, to watch the film. However, as my film is a low-budget independent film, especially a supernatural horror film that don't generally have well-known actors anyway, it isn't so important. However, I did decide to name the actors on the poster as this is conventionally seen on most film posters, and I wanted to abide these codes and conventions. Below the names of the actors, we have the title of the film. The title of the film was always conventionally featured on the poster as it tells the audience one of the vital pieces of information, the name of the film. I have used the conventional steel tongs font for the production information at the bottom of the poster, where that information is conventionally situated. It is written in small font, stating the less important information to the audience, like the names of the people behind the scenes of the making of the film. The release date is also located directly underneath this. The release date is a conventional piece of information also used on all film posters as it tells the audience when they can watch the film. Depending on the length of time prior to the film's release, some posters are more specific with their dates, whereas some may say a season, month, or just simply coming soon. I decided to use August 2015 as I have created a teaser trailer alongside the poster, and teaser trailers are generally released quite a while before the film's release, when a specific release date may not have been chosen yet. Also, August 2015 is just before Halloween, and most supernatural horror films are released during this time, as Halloween is generally a peak time for people watching horror films. I decided to use from the producers of 317 here. This is conventional of posters as they state to the audience the people behind the film, and attracts people who have watched the film that the same people have produced previously. As if they liked 3:17 AM, another supernatural horror, then it is likely they'll like Occupied. I added some critics' comments at the top of the poster. It is conventional for posters to do this as it shows that the film was acclaimed and successful, persuading the audience to watch the film because of this. Another supernatural horror film post that inspired me to do this was Paranormal Activity, as you can see here. Something that is conventional of the supernatural horror genre is saying that the film is based on true events, like I have done here. This makes the film's narrative seem more realistic for the audience and makes them think that if it happened in real life to everyday people, then it could happen to them, something that horror films try to do very often. Another supernatural horror film that has done this and has inspired me to follow suit is The Conjuring, as seen here.